Gentlemen, please put your hand over your heart. And if you're a veteran, you're welcome to use a hand salute as we play our national colors. In the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Lorenzo Rios, the CEO of the Clovis Veterans Memorial District, and a proud veteran of 23 years of active military service. And I will tell you, I
never get used to seeing that beautiful flag. Now, most of you may not know the rich tradition of the bagpiper, normally presented only before battle. I saw it every single time before we deployed. They would march before the troops as a way of rallying the troops before combat. So what you saw today was a piece of rich tradition. Our country has a rich and strong military power, but there are different elements of national power, and economic power is one of them. And you, ladies and gentlemen, are part of that strength. Thank you so much for being here, and today it's my honor to present to you Dr. Carol Goldsmith, our MC for the day. Please give her a warm applause.
Good morning, everyone. As I drove here today, I drove by Catholic Charities, and for many of you in the Valley, you know that there was a tragic event that took place in Fresno just about 48 hours ago. So in keeping with our rich tradition of American values, I would ask that we'd all take a moment and pause in silent reflection and think about the victims of that senseless event and the continued senseless violence that continues to grasp our communities. If you could please take a moment, think about healing. Thank you. So today we are coming together to talk about what makes America great, what truly makes America great. There's been a lot of national rhetoric about what makes America great. But as I had an opportunity to witness our colors come in and have an opportunity to talk to so many of you, both learning about manufacturing, working in manufacturing, aspiring to remote manufacturing, this is what makes America great. You know, all too often in the news we hear about all the manufacturing jobs are leaving the country. They're leaving in mass exodus. I look out here and I don't see that reality. I hope today will reshape the narrative of the importance of manufacturing both to our nation, our state, and more importantly, our valley. So today, I have a wonderful opportunity to point out a few things for you. You may notice we're going to be here for most of the day, and on your tables you have an agenda. I'm not going to go through it. You all can read and take a look at it, but there are some highlights there and some wonderful breakouts, wonderful workshops, some great tables where you can talk to students, educators, and manufacturers. I encourage you to be fully engaged today and get the most out of it. So, I'm going to get straight to the program. It is my distinct honor and privilege to introduce somebody that I've known for a few years now. And many of you have probably known this gentleman for a while as well. If you're familiar with the Betts Company, this company is, well, started back east, actually started in England, and came over here soon. It's going to have 150 years of family tradition. And this company is passionate about improving the way things move. Think about that. Improving the way things move. Well, it's certainly true when you talk about Mike Betts. Mike is the CEO and chairman of the Betts Company. And while he served this company as the 6th president and has focused on improving the bottom line, those who know him know that he's equally passionate about moving lives, improving lives as they go through trying to find a job to a career. Mike has really been dedicated and passionate about moving our community and Fresno from a good city to a great city to an amazing valley. He has been a proud member of the Fresno Business Chamber for a number of years, which, by the way, has adopted CTE as their #1 priority for the next several years. He's also been involved actively as a board member of CART, the Center for Advanced Research, a unique partnership found nowhere else between Fresno Unified and Clovis Unified. And he really understands the partnership between education and business and how to move that partnership to improve the lives and the economy of our valley. In fact, under his leadership, the Betts Company hosted the first Central Valley community meeting for the Task Force on Workforce, Job Creation, and a Strong Economy, which I happened to serve on. It was there where I met Mike and his dedication to bring people together to do what's right. So Mike has certainly dedicated his life to the Betts Company founding mission: building well, serving better. I can't think of a better motto for all of us here today: building well, serving better. And while he isn't working to improve lives and his employees in the region, you can often find him on the golf course or reading a good book. He's a proud family guy. It's evident when you speak to his son. But in fact, I've heard him actually say, the best moment in my life is when I said, I do, at the altar. Please give a warm welcome to family guy and now Valley native, Mr. Mike Betts.
Well, good morning, and welcome to our celebration here today, celebrating manufacturing in the Central Valley of California. You know, this is an amazing organization, the San Joaquin Valley Manufacturing Alliance. We're really 3 years in our infancy, and what we've accomplished in this short period of time is really remarkable. And I want to share with you in a few minutes what we've accomplished, how we've done it, and kind of share a little bit of our story. But before I do that, I'd like to say thank you to several folks. I'd like to introduce you to our board, the board of the San Joaquin Valley Manufacturing Alliance. We've been hard at work for the last several years, focusing on issues with education and with our manufacturing community to really leapfrog our manufacturing community forward. And you'll learn shortly what we've been doing to make that happen. But would our board please stand? Sam Guile, Lorenzo Rios, Raminder Sangha, Deborah Nankerville, Lonnie Benny, Troy Brandt, Mike Dozier, Pat Gordon, Ron Heskett, and Ken Newby. These individuals have worked tirelessly, volunteering for this organization, volunteering for our manufacturing community, to try to make this the best manufacturing community, not only in the United States, but in the world. And we're well on our way, and I can't thank you all enough, so thank you very much. I'd like to also recognize our committees, the committee members that put this event together. Without the tireless effort of these individuals, and we have about 20 that helped us put this together, this would not have been possible. So would you stand, please, all of our committee members, allow us to say thank you. I'd like to thank our speakers that have come long distances to share this special time with us. John Hofmeister, past president of Royal Dutch Shell, and Catherine DeRozier from the Dream It, Do It initiative in Washington, D.C. Catherine is from her home state of Virginia, where she is taking on the initiative of Dream It, Do It, and is doing amazing things there. And you're going to learn more about Dream It, Do It from Catherine, and really what a good energy policy should look like from John Hofmeister here shortly. I'd like to thank all of our exhibitors. Without you, all of this wouldn't be possible as well. The exhibitors really are our supplier community to our manufacturers, right? Without them, we don't exist. And they're doing a great job supporting the manufacturing community here in the Central Valley. So I encourage everybody here today to spend time going around and meeting our exhibitors, understanding their products, what they offer the community, and get to know them. We really appreciate them. Thank you for being here. And most importantly, I'd like to thank our sponsors. And I'm going to start with our platinum sponsor. Great organization, a great company. Been here for a while, but really making a big push here in the Central Valley recently. And we're so happy to have them, and that's Moss Adams, our platinum sponsor. Thank you, Moss Adams, for being here. Our gold sponsors, I'd like to thank Bet's Company, the Fresno Regional Workforce Development Board, the State College Community College District, Fresno City College, Clovis, and Reedley Community College. Wells Fargo Bank. Thank you to our gold sponsors. I'd like to thank our silver sponsors, Bank of America, City of Fresno, the California Manufacturing Technology Consultancy, doing what matters for jobs and the economy. Fresno Business Journal, Fresno State University, Fresno Yosemite International Airport, Mechanical Associates Clark Brothers Inc., the Office of Community and Economic Development at Fresno State, Tioga Advisors, United Western Industries, West Hills Community College. Thank you to our silver sponsors. And our bronze sponsors, Baker, Peterson, and Franklin, Borga Steel Building Manufacturing, California ETP, Chase Bank, Caldwell Solar, Dermanowell Insurance Group, Fresno County EDC, Fresno First Bank, Fresno Unified School District, Johansson Transportation Services, Merced College, Span Construction and Engineering Inc., Strategic Mechanical, and Vistage. Thank you to our bronze sponsors. And again, thank you all for being here today. Well, our journey began 3 years ago at the Fresno Business Council. And for those of you that don't know the Fresno Business Council, the Business Council has been around for 20 years. We're blessed to have our CEO of the Fresno Business Council here with us today, and that's Deborah Nankerville. Deborah, if you'd stand up, I'd appreciate it. Thanks, Deborah. Deborah has been at the helm from the beginning, and there's several other folks here from the Fresno Business Council here today with us. For those of you that don't know about the Business Council, we are all about community transformation. It's our number one focus. It's bringing people together. It's identifying opportunities that exist within our community, identifying a plan and executing that plan to make things happen. And this is a big part of that. We had a vision to build a world-class career and technical education ecosystem. And that really came from one of our founding fathers of the Business Council, Ken Newby. And many of you know Ken, great guy. And he helped and worked with us to build a vision of what it would take to build a world-class career and technical education ecosystem. It's an amazing document, probably over 40 different PowerPoint slides, but each one meaningful to what we're about and what we're accomplishing here. So I want to thank the Business Council for being the grassroots organization that it is and helping us develop this vision for this community, because what we're doing here, folks, is really remarkable. Today we have over 450 individual members of our alliance. We're over 200 different companies, manufacturing and supplier community right now. Our goal, believe it or not, 1,750. We're well on our way, and we're building momentum. You're going to see that today. When you walk around and you see our exhibits and you participate in our over 20 breakout sessions. I encourage you all to go through the booklet and identify those sessions that are meaningful to you, because you'll walk away with value. That's a guarantee. We're guaranteeing you today that you spend a full day here and you do a good job looking through the book and going to the breakouts of your choice, that you will walk away with value, something that you can go back and implement in your business to move your business forward, to make your business more profitable, to take your next generation of leaders up to the next level. That's what this is about. But you don't build a world-class career and technical education ecosystem without that next generation of talent that's ready, work ready for our businesses. And today, we're going to have over 100, we have over 100 work-ready students here from our wonderful community colleges, universities, and high school programs. So I encourage all of you that are in business to meet at least one student. Take some time and get to know that student. Understand what they're interested in. Let them know more about a career in manufacturing, types of careers that we offer, and how great the manufacturing business is in this community. The opportunities are unlimited. They're tremendous. And so we're really thrilled to have the students here with us today, and we can't thank our education partners enough. So that's really the foundation of what we're about. But you can't do it without your partners. And again, that's what makes us incredibly remarkable, because through collaboration and communication and transparency, we have our government partners here with us today. We have our education partners here with us today, our industry partners, and we have our student partners. So organizations like the Workforce Development Board of Fresno and Madera, the EOC, all the city government folks, the mayors, their leaders, they're here to be part of building this organization. We have the EDCs, the Economic Development Corporations. We have all the folks in the community from all the different colleges and universities are here in support of this movement to help us take this organization further. So what's that mean 2, 3, 4 years from now? Are we going to be able to hold the next one, the next convention here, the next summit right here in Fresno? I believe we will. You know, we've doubled in size. We're going to double in size again next year. So what are we doing? Are we just getting together for the summit? No, we meet 3 times a year with our board, and we offer our members, if you're not a member of the Alliance, please become a member. We offer our members value when we meet 3 times a year. So we introduce you to our members, we introduce you to companies that you're not familiar with. We bring something of interest to you each meeting when we meet. We bring students to the table. We make the connections with the students and our manufacturers, work-ready students. And we've heard for years that our pipeline of work-ready talent isn't the best. Well, I can tell you right now today, it is pretty darn good, and it's getting even better. I think people would be amazed to know about the incredible quality career technical education programs we have here in this community today. We have some of the very, very best CTE programs anywhere in the nation, and competitive with those in Europe and around the world. What we're about is making them even better. How do we take our current career technical education programs and take them even to the next level? Today is about advanced manufacturing. You're going to see, when you walk around, the latest in technology and robotics and 3D printing, advanced ways to move your business forward, leadership training, lean manufacturing concepts and principles, ERP upgrades to your business. Today is about connecting. Today is about collaborating. Today is about meeting people. Today is about manufacturing, thriving in the valley, in this Central Valley of California. Today is about being proud to be a manufacturer right here in the Central Valley, because the Central Valley is the best place to manufacture in California by far. Low cost of living, easy commutes, a Midwestern quality of life, family values, quality people, an amazing place to raise a family and to grow a business. Today is about all of you, all of us, and taking our lives to the next level. So thank you all for being here. Thank you all for being part of this organization. Thank you, and tell your friends about us. Have a great day. Thank you.
Let's give him another round of applause for what he is. So I was listening backstage and I heard a couple themes through that, and talking about changing the narrative and being proud of the Central Valley, being proud of manufacturing. Absolutely, we have to be able to just let that light shine. You know, when Mike talked about gaining value from today, I have to tell you, if you look at our speakers and their program and the incredible vendors that we have here and the students, this is the place to be today. You're not going to find any more value anywhere else other than here. This is the place. This is where we're going to make things happen and take it to the next level. And talking about taking it to the next level and making things happen, this next speaker, you're going to be wowed. John Hofmeister. Former president of the Shell Oil Company. Think about that. It's a huge company. And upon retirement of the Shell Oil Company, Mr. Hofstadter founded and heads the nonprofit membership association Citizens for Affordable Energy. He's a business leader and a community leader who's participated in the inner workings of multiple industries for over 35 years. John has held executive leadership positions in General Electric, Nortel, Allied Signal, which is now known as Honeywell International, in addition to being president of Shell Oil Company. Mr. Hofmeister served as the chairman of the National Urban League and the chairman of the United States Department of Energy's Hydrogen and Fuel Cell Technically Advisory Committee. That name's just even hard to pronounce. He serves as the non-executive director of Hunting in London, Apple Plus in Barcelona, and he's the chairman for Aaron Energy in Houston, Texas. John is a fellow in the National Academy of Human Resources. He's also the past chairman and serves currently as the director of the Greater Houston Partnership. He's the author of Why We Hate Oil Companies, Straight Talk from an Energy Insider, published in 2010. And if you haven't picked up that book, I encourage you to do so. It's a fascinating read. Mr. Hofmeister has also served as a Wrigley Scholar, an executive in residence in the Global Institute of Sustainability at Arizona State University. He is also a lecturer at the University of Houston and Kansas State University. Mr. Hofmeister earned his bachelor's and his master's degree in political science from Kansas State University, and in May 2010, he was awarded the Honorary Doctorate of Letters from the University of Houston, and in 2004, earned an Honorary Doctorate from Kansas State University. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm Central Valley welcome to a man who's a Renaissance man, an oil man, an academic, and a guy who cares about community, Mr. John Hofmeister.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
What a delight to breathe your fresh air this morning. Imagine having the privilege of doing that every day. I envy you. I'd like to start with the basics today. My remarks this morning are addressed to every age of student among us. Wherever you are in your learning process in your life, these remarks are for you. It is to try to put a perspective on energy and our energy future that we can all carry with us in the years ahead, because we'll need it. And so starting with the basics sounds like this. When you woke up this morning, 4 fundamental requirements greeted you today. And I'm talking purely in a secular sense. The 4 requirements: you need water, you need food, you need money, and you need energy. 4 fundamentals which prevent you from getting through the day in ways in which you would prefer every day. The first of what you may have experienced today was the electron which turned on the alarm clock while it was still dark outside, and that electron powered the electromagnetic switch inside your alarm clock to wake you up. Thank you, electron. May it long greet you for years to come. But you need a sip of water. You need a bite of food. You may need to stop along the way here and purchase something for which you need money. And then you needed the energy, perhaps the molecules of fuel, to get you here, in your car, on a bus, or however you arrived. Those 4 basics are something we have to deal with every single day. But now let's concentrate a little more on energy. No matter what we would say about energy, and we could get into deep technical discussions, we could explore the limits of science, physics, materials, all kinds of exotic possibilities in the technical and scientific realm. But what it comes down to for you and me, and our families, and our community, are the molecules and the electrons that power us 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, except once in 4 years, 366 days a year. That's what energy is. Energy are the lights. Energy is the heat. Energy is the fire. Energy is the power. Energy is the ability to move wherever you want to go. Energy is the ability to read all night, study all night, or to entertain yourself, or to hear beautiful music. Whatever it is that energy does for you, it makes your life better. It is a control over the quality of your life. Imagine the alternative of not having energy, which 2 billion people in the world today experience 24/7. No energy. Maybe a cook fire. Maybe a burning branch. Maybe a burning pile of dung. But that's the limit of their energy, because there's no light when the sun goes down. There's no heat, there's no cooling. There's no energy to run an electric appliance. There's no energy to run an electronic device. It's a life without energy. 2 billion people. Another 2 billion people have a scarcity of energy. There's not enough, never enough. And it goes off and on. It's intermittent. It's unpredictable. Be careful of the food in the refrigerator, because we don't know how long the refrigerator will be off today, because there's not sufficient reliable power for it to run all day long. And don't waste your time or money having a freezer, because it will not freeze. Electricity is too unreliable. These are the effects of a shortage of electrons or a shortage of molecules. You walk to get your water. You don't drive to get your water, because there's nothing to drive, because there's no fuel to power it, and so on. But let's take it one step further. Let's go up the value chain. What is it about energy that makes it work? And this goes without saying. Energy takes the supply. What are the sources of the electrons and the molecules? What we talk about is the supply of energy that comes from coal, oil, natural gas, hydropower, uranium for nuclear, biomass, wind, solar, geothermal, and hydrogen as an energy carrier. That's it, folks. That's all she wrote. Those are the sources of energy as we know it in the 21st century. Wind, solar, biofuels, geothermal, and hydrogen are considered new, alternative, different, something from the traditional. And the traditional are the nuclear, the hydropower, the coal, the oil, and the natural gas. We need it all. In fact, what I teach in my courses is, thanks to the fact that we have it all, we have more energy available to us than at any time in the known history of man. We're not running out. We're only learning more. We have more and more and more and more. Let's share it with the 2 billion people that have none and the 2 billion people who don't have enough. Why can't everyone have access to energy the way we know access to energy? Lord knows the supply is out there, coming from all 10 sources of energy. And in fact, we have so much energy that if you believe in market forces, where supply greater than demand yields price reduction, we should have energy that costs nearly zero in terms of the money that we spend, because we have so much. There is so much solar energy from the sun, so much powerful hydropower, so much wind, so much oil and natural gas and coal and uranium. Uranium alone, 2 million times more powerful than the equivalent unit 2 million. So a glass full of gasoline, the equivalent amount of uranium would provide 2 million times more electrons. That's how much energy we have, ladies and gentlemen. Our minds cannot calculate the availability of electrons and molecules. We have so much. But on top of that, the second part of going up the value chain is, why would we ever waste energy? In fact, why wouldn't we want to use energy as efficiently as possible, so that the electrons that we don't use today are available tomorrow, so that the molecules we don't need today are available tomorrow? There's no point in wasting it. Even though we have more than we will ever use, why waste it? It's like wasting food. Why would you waste food? If the answer is because we can, that's a terrible answer. Because somebody could be using that food somewhere else. And so why waste energy? Let's focus on efficiency. And the good news is, once again, our minds cannot calculate how much efficiency is available to us because we keep discovering more. Manufacturing succeeds when we use energy more efficiently. And manufacturing itself is a pathway to energy efficiency, where the energy we don't use today is available tomorrow. Let's go up the food chain again. Imagine if you had no backbone. It'd be a little hard to get around every day, wouldn't it? Without a backbone, which we could also call the infrastructure of your body, you'd be a blob. We'd have to get used to each other all over again if we were all blobs. Infrastructure is to energy what the backbone is to the body. If you don't have infrastructure, you don't have energy. So efficiency doesn't matter if you don't have infrastructure, because you can't move the energy from where it's produced to where it's consumed. Infrastructure is the critical aspect of energy, and Lord knows, and in this state, and in many states across the country, everybody agrees we need infrastructure in principle. But who wants that infrastructure right next door to them or in their backyard? No one. Not in my backyard is a motto that the energy industry faces day in and day out. But without that backbone, remember, there is no energy. Whether that's a pipeline, whether that is a wire line, whether that's a power plant, whether that's a storage tank, whatever it may be, infrastructure is the backbone of energy. It's part and parcel of the entire system. And then finally, the highest part of the value chain, managing an energy system in order to improve and remediate the environment. We cannot live in an energy system that does not respect, honor, and even cherish the biosphere in which we live. And whether that energy is coal or nuclear, oil or natural gas, wind or solar, biomass, geothermal, hydrogen, or hydropower. Respecting the environment, enabling us to produce more molecules and more electrons, is essential to an energy system of today and tomorrow. We haven't always done that. We're not doing it today. We have a ways to go. But we can do that. We can respect the environment, and we'll talk a little bit more about that later. Now, there are 3 criteria that we should use to measure the success of our energy future. 1, is energy affordable? Can we buy it? Can we pay for it? Is it too expensive? If we end up having to ration energy because the price is so high, it says we have failed to deliver the supply we need. There is no reason on earth for energy prices to keep going up when we have so much energy available to us. It means we're making bad decisions, on what energy we make available. And that's a matter for public policy people. That's a matter for all of us to know and understand. Because there is no reason for energy prices to rise in the world in which we live if it's a question of supply versus demand, because we have all the supply we need. The second is energy needs to be available 24/7. We have around-the-clock coverage of electrons and molecules because we need it. Our lifestyles, our quality of life, our economic well-being, our economic development requires this continuous supply of molecules and electrons. And thirdly, energy has to be sustainable. That means it has to not so negatively impact the earth that we do damage to the earth. And sustainability means we fix what's broken, we improve what needs improvement, and we don't detract from our children's future and their enjoyment of the same biosphere we use. Now let's go a little bit deeper. Remember, I said we're talking to students of all ages. So what do we need to cover? The way we know about energy and how energy fits into food, water, money, and energy is we never stop acquiring knowledge. We read about it, we learn about it, we hear about it, and we register it so that it sticks with us. The knowledge and experience of consuming energy is the greatest teacher of energy because we learn what's possible, we learn what's doable. And in that context, it's knowledge and it's facts that matter. It's not ideology that matters. Ideology has nothing to do with molecules or electrons. Do you think you can go to your electricity supplier and say, you know what, I've been a lifelong Democrat, I only want democratic molecules and democratic electrons. What do they cost? What's the price on a democratic electron? Or go and ask the other side, I want Republican electrons and Republican molecules. But ladies and gentlemen, we have lowered the discussion of energy to the humiliating level of choosing between democratic electrons promoted by one political party and Republican electrons promoted by another political party to a level of absurdity. Just plain capital A, absurdity. Electrons are electrons, molecules are molecules. And that's part of knowledge. That's a factual reality. But by turning electrons and molecules into the politics of the day, which we have seen happen at the federal level, at the state level, and even the local level, we have created an absurdity in the conversation about energy as we think about the future. Also, energy requires intensive understanding of the important role of technology and science, engineering and mathematics in the world of energy and the production of energy and the distribution of energy and the consumption of energy. We need people, we need students of all ages who care deeply about the STEM requirements of energy. Because the availability and the affordability and the sustainability all depend upon that science and technology, the math and the engineering that go with energy. And so energy in a manufacturing community, along with the STEM requirements of manufacturing, add the STEM requirements of energy because they're part and parcel, they're one and the same with each other. And why is this important? Because the quality of life in this community, the quality of life in this state, and of course the quality of life for the future generations of our sons and daughters and their sons and daughters depends upon getting that formula right and making sure we have continuity and making sure we have a commitment to the future that will take advantage of all of those sciences and technologies. Because from quality of life comes the economic and social and cultural goodness that describes us as human beings. You may be an artist, you may be a poet or a writer, you may be a financial analyst, you may be an economist, you may be a community engaged social worker, helping families function, helping schools educate the young. All of the social, economic, and all of the cultural capability of our society as we evolve and as it develops comes from the quality of life which we expect, which is again back dependent upon the availability, the affordability, and the sustainability of energy. What sets us back, sadly, are the politics of energy. And the politics of energy can get real, real ugly. Do we or don't we build the Keystone XL pipeline? There's only 84 pipelines connecting Canada and US in existence, and they're all full. So the idea of having an 85th pipeline to plan for the future is part of what describes the need for infrastructure for the Keystone XL pipeline. Should we or shouldn't we? Should we stop at 84 and cut off future commerce, future growth of commerce between Canada and the United States? Because after all, we have 84 pipelines. Who needs the 85th? Particularly since it's called XL, which sounds like extra large. And we know we don't want to be extra large. But the absurdity of politics gets in the middle of do we or don't we. It makes no sense. And it takes us down, it takes us backwards. It makes fools of us, if you will. Where one politician is in favor and one politician is against, and people rally, and people come out and march in the streets, people chain themselves to the White House fence over whether or not to build that 85th pipeline. When in fact, we're running trains back and forth. Trains that come off the rails. Trains that spill oil all over the prairies of the Midwest instead of buried in a pipeline, which the statistics would show are dramatically safer from an infrastructure engineering standpoint than rail traffic. Because the oil is going to move one way or another. Politics is the dysfunction of energy. Politics is the polarization of people. And what do we achieve by the polarization of people over something as basic as electrons and molecules? We achieve, frankly, nothing but excitement. Excitement that is transient. Excitement that wears thin, particularly as the price goes up, or as the availability goes down, or as the sustainability is put at risk. Which gets us to one of the most sophisticated conversations we could have. And that is, how do we govern energy? We are a self-governing people. We care about democracy. We care about our individual rights. We care about our ability to make a decision that impacts our future. We care and we care and we care, and thus we are all Democrats, small d, in the sense that we believe in the democratic process and a representative form of government in this country. And how do we govern energy? You could start at the bottom, or you could start at the top. You could start locally, you could start nationally. But here's the reality. Not one single molecule, not one single electron can be legally produced in this country without a government permit. That's a pretty dramatic statement, but it's true. In order to produce electrons or to produce molecules, it is controlled by government, locally. That wire that attaches to your house has to have a permit. That power plant that's going to be built, that wind farm that's going to be built, that offshore wind farm, anything that is under the jurisdiction of any government in the United States of America, there is a control over the electrons and the molecules. No well is fracked without a permit. No well is drilled without a permit. No gas station operates without a permit. No substation can be utilized without a permit. It's all permitted. So, we're going to have government everywhere that there's energy. The entire infrastructure, the entire resource base, the entire supply chain. So how do we govern it? Here's how we govern it. Let's start with the United States President. The President has 14 executive branch agencies that also govern energy. Those 14 agencies delegate their responsibilities to many, many field offices across the country at the federal level. Congress has 24 committees that govern energy between the Senate and the House. So we have 24 different committees governing energy. Every federal judge in the nation has the authority to take on an energy case brought to his or her bench. So every federal judge governs energy. 24 committees plus the House and the Senate. 14 branches of the executive branch, and we're just at the federal level. Now go to the state. 50 governors, 50 state legislatures, 50 state court systems, plus all the bureaucracies within those states that are assigned duties or chartered by their legislatures to govern energy. Now we get to the municipalities and to the counties. Every county and every city has governing responsibility. And there are thousands and thousands of governing units in cities and counties across the country. So how do we govern energy? I would say simply, every way we can. And is that rational? Is that working for us? Is that adding to the cost of energy? Is it helping the availability of energy? Is it helping the sustainability of energy? I would say not enough. Because if you compare the governance of energy with the governance of money, where the governance of money is clarified by one single agency. There is one single independent regulatory agency that governs with clarity everything we need to know about money. The availability of the supply, the affordability of the price of money, the immediacy of the availability of money through the open market window at night where every bank can borrow, and with a focus on the general economy and the input or the outflow of money in the economy. That's the Federal Reserve. We manage our money system with an independent, politics-free, by design anyway, independent regulatory authority, but we manage our energy through every political means possible, at every governing level that applies. And I suggest to you that we can't continue that way if we want to achieve what's possible in the availability, the affordability, and the sustainability of energy in the 21st century. But now back to the students. What is it that students need to know? And this is students of all ages. very simply. Go back to something that we've all learned at one stage or another. We've learned how to ask questions. What students need to know are the answers to the what, when, why, where, how, who questions. It's that simple. We could go into a deep technical discussion of all kinds of aspects of energy, but let me simplify it for you. If you can remember those 6 words, who, what, why, when, where, how, you can write them down if you want. Who, what, why, where, when, how. If you can work on the answers to those questions, you will know everything you ever needed to know about energy. Also, frankly, about life. About anything that you're curious about. Who, what, why, when, where, how. Those are the questions we all need to ask ourselves as students about the future of energy. But now let me get a little more concrete about our specific energy future. Let me just draw a quick roadmap. Because I believe in realism, I believe in pragmatism, I believe in the world we live in, not some ideal world that doesn't exist. And I don't believe in politicians' promises as a way forward. I believe in a concrete reality that we all live, that we all experience, as it relates to food, as it relates to water, as it relates to money, and as it relates to energy. And so here's how I see the future of energy. For all of our ambitions, and perhaps even all our desires, and I wrote a book on this, we are not yet out of the fossil age. Those who may tell you we are in a post-fossil fuel era, or soon will be, and that it's time to divest your shares, say goodbye to the future of oil, say goodbye to the future of coal, and say goodbye to natural gas, which is simply a bridge fuel to the future. That's not reality. That's just not the reality of the world in which we live. Now, I believe we can see the end game, but it's not here yet. In fact, the International Energy Agency, the United States government-owned Energy Information Agency, all predict, going forward, the increased consumption of coal, the increased consumption of oil, the increased consumption of natural gas, well into the next 2 or 3 decades at least. That's not something that I'm making up as the former head of an oil company, where you think I have some stake or might have some stake in the outcome. No. It's reality. Those 2 billion people that have no energy, their first resource will be coal, simply by the way coal operates. Those 2 billion people who don't have enough energy, their next additional resource is more likely to be coal than renewable. That's a reality that the world exists in. And so the point is, for those who have predicted the end of the fossil age, it's a Pied Piper approach to the future of energy. Because the reality is we need the molecules. If you want to have a view of the future of electric vehicles, we will have more and more and more and more. If you want to have a view of how many internal combustion engine vehicles we have in the year 2050, you can go to the website for the Fuel Freedom Foundation and you can see 3 studies. Goldman Sachs, Bloomberg, and IEA, International Energy Agency. And by 2050, they predict that whereas today we have 1 billion internal combustion engine vehicles on the roads of the world, in the year 2050, we will have 1 billion internal combustion engines on the roads of the world. We will also have 1 billion electric vehicles on the roads of the world, because by 2050 we will have 2 billion vehicles. Half will be electric battery and hydrogen fuel cell, and the other half will be internal combustion engines. So if we have 1 billion engines today, and we have 1 billion engines in 2050, what does that tell you if you do the math on the need for oil products for internal combustion engines 32, 33 years from now? It says it's about the same. Thus, the fossil age is not over yet. We're not going to all suddenly convert to battery electric or hydrogen fuel cell electric vehicles. It's not doable. We don't know how to get there at a level of affordability and availability and sustainability that we can manage. So, we also need to reinvent nuclear. There are a lot of good reasons why not to invest in the 1950s, 60s, and 70s model for nuclear energy. But there is no good reason not to invest in the future of nuclear energy according to a different model, a 2100 model, a 21st century model that uses nuclear differently, that uses thorium in addition to uranium, that uses different technologies and different ways of managing systems, nuclear systems, so that we can take advantage of that 2 million times more powerful form of energy. And for hydropower, and your state is well known for the use of hydropower, we should be thinking about hydropower as it will exist in 2075, not 1975. Our current hydropower systems in North America were designed a long, long time ago, and they were fit for purpose in 1975. Now we need to be thinking about 2075, and I'm not sure we're doing that yet. So that's the traditional forms of energy. Everything that focuses on wind and solar is to the good, because of the free source of available energy, with one condition. If we're going to see an energy system that truly works for us, using lots of wind and solar, which is an intermittent form of power, then we have to have the equivalent amount of storage capacity, which we don't have yet. So the growth of solar and the growth of wind is solely conditional upon the ability to build storage capacity alongside wind and solar new energy. And just a couple more. When it comes to biomass, we could produce as much biomass as we could possibly use to create energy, with one caution. That caution is, how much biomass do we need to regenerate the soil so that we always have enough food from the soil? The soil has to be enriched so that the soil doesn't play out. And in order to produce more biomass and to prevent the soil from playing out, we have to balance that level of biomass usage with future biomass production. Hydrogen is an unlimited source of energy potential, and we should develop it for its fullness, with hydrogen fuel cells turning those hydrogen molecules into electricity. Geothermal is probably next century, not this century. And when it comes to the contest that's about to play out between battery electric vehicles, such as Tesla, or hydrogen fuel cells, such as the Mirai, you can put your money on either source. But don't forget this fact, and you heard it here. Battery electric versus hydrogen electric. Battery electric has a lot more mass. And when you think of the physics over the long term, and you think of the implications of the material mass, do you bet on batteries or do you bet on hydrogen fuel cells? I'll leave that choice to you. But let me close on these comments. Our success as a people, when it comes to the future of energy, depends upon the development of our minds. The development of our minds. What we know and how we know it. We have all the sources of energy we will ever need. We have all of the capacities of the human beings on this earth to bring technology to bear. It's all doable. It's all about learning and adaptation. Number one. Number two, we need to include everyone in the consumption of energy. Why should we have energy haves and energy have-nots in the world of the 21st century? It reflects our own shortcomings. It reflects our own stinginess, if you will, not to include the entire world in the energy have and have-not balance. In other words, the elimination of the energy have-nots. Third, it requires mutual respect, common values, and democratic participation in our political processes if we're going to have good governance over energy. And finally, ladies and gentlemen, it's going to take a commitment to environmental justice from each and every one of us to make sure that this finite Earth, this isolated, single planet, sustaining life as we know it, is capable of doing that from now till kingdom come. It's going to take our commitment to the air, to the water, and to the soil, to the remediation of all three as and where necessary, and to the education of each and every one of us that we respect this earth to the point that we return it to goodness, that which has been damaged by ourselves and by our predecessors. We can do that. We can do all four of these things. Just like that electron tomorrow morning will hit your electromagnetic device and buzz at you while it's still dark outside. Thanks for listening.
Ladies and gentlemen, please give this gentleman one more give a round of applause. And just to let all of you know, this titan of the industry will be available for Q&A and will be walking about today. Please take advantage of him and sage advice. I'd like to welcome up here now Mr. Bill Rozier from Tioga Advisors, and also Vera Vitashova from Moss Adams to present a nice prize.
John, thank you for being here this morning. These photographs were taken in our local mountains, and we'd like to extend them to you to remind you of your time with us today. Thank you. And we will ship it to you. Thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes our morning sessions. Please take advantage of one of the many breakout sessions. We'll see you back here for lunch. And remember, let's change the narrative. Thank you.